Welcome back to our YouTube channel, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that this video is going to find you well wherever you are. Personally, I'm fine and I'm appreciating this day. Ladies and gentlemen, Aukot is coming out and totally deconstructing the Kenya Kwanza government administration. And I have two videos to share with you on Aukot. I like how he is actually articulating himself and shaming the government, because first he have spoken about the issue of housing levy, and again is coming out courageously to say that when you speak too much, you won't deliver your promises to the people. And I have always saying this. In fact, I'm very much impressed on whatever Aukot is saying, because I always tell you this, that when you see somebody speaking too much and never deliver promises to you, is that this person first is a liar, he can't tolerate you anymore, but he is a man on a mission. And according to Aukot, he described this government as a failure and is also condemning those who are still believing in this government. I want you to take a look and listen to this video first. After that, I'm going to share with you again another video on today, whatever Aukot have said.
Listen, I think I have a message that I hope Honorable Mungatana will take to the President.
Yes.
The less he talks and promises, the better for this country. There is too much talk, too many promises. I think what Kenyans are saying right now, we want to see action. In fact, one of the things that they may not tell you, Honorable Mungatana, is that you, Kenya Kwanza, gave a lot of promises. You said you had the plan. Now, right now as we speak, Kenyans are actually saying, actually there was no plan. At all. So I think
I disagree with you. I tell you, there's policy, there's legislation, and then there is the actioning of the plan. Unless you want us to be dictators, we have to follow the process.
You know, Mosh, as I said earlier,
but you have taxes.
I want the government, I want our government to succeed, because then I'll be a very happy Kenyan, and some of us will speak less. We'll even go back to the classrooms and teach law. But so long as the political lies are being perpetuated every other day, we will not keep quiet. We will have to remind you. And I think for me the biggest question I have for this government is there's too much talk, too much populism. In fact, that's what the taxi driver also told me, that the president seems to be obsessed with this issue of populism. For example, I don't think you should be going to Nyanza to tell people I've brought development, as if it's not their right. It is their right. Don't dangle the idea of development, because then you are saying to some people that do not support you.
Can I say something on that?
Just allow me to finish. You see, the consequence of that argument, Trevor, and I think this is why we need to change our politics a bit, polish our politics. That the president should not be using development as a campaign thing. As a matter of fact, what Kenyans are now saying, that this president is back on the campaign trail. If you listen to DP Gachagua saying, President sasa wewe wenda tu Nyanza, ile Rift Valley na mlima mimi nitakuchungia. Do we really need that kind of talk right now? So to keep on dangling, because you are actually disenfranchising Kenyans. There are regions that say, okay, we never supported you fully, but now how are we taking that messaging? If the president keeps reminding, the presidency actually keeps reminding Kenyans that this is what Mlima, where Rift Valley, what about the rest of us from the northern part of Kenya or the coastal part of Kenya where Honorable Mungatana even comes from? So you begin to see you're being isolated, and to use the power.
But by that time, Aukot was done for the interview at daybreak, and he spoke whatever he can say in his mind. But the truth is that Aukot is a very wise leader. When you have been following whatever Aukot is saying, you will realize that this man is a very wise leader, and he knows whatever he's doing. He understands himself, and he can actually tell you what next. For From that video, I'm going to combine it with the other video on Aukot interview today. But before I do that, ladies and gentlemen, if this might be your first time watching me as on Kenya TV YouTube channel, I request you kindly do me a favor, take a 1 second and click that subscription button and subscribe to our channel. After you subscribe to our channel, kindly like this video. I repeat, like this video. After you like this video, watch it, share and give us your opinion at the comment section below. Meanwhile, let's proceed. The first clip, Aukot, is coming out and saying that this government speaks a lot and they will never do anything for Kenyans. As if that is not enough, let's take a look and listen to the center of the voice on whatever now Aukot is coming out with on Kenya Kwanza administration government.
Do you determine the income of a person? That formula is not there. So the law that was passed actually is for me, it's a law that's not enforceable at all, especially in the context of Kenya, where we are dealing with an unemployment of upwards of 60% or whatever percentage it is. So then how do you tax those? And let me also say this blatantly. I think this is the presidency of William Ruto is what now Kenyans can agree was a long con. It was promising Kenyans heaven and earth that we will do this for you, Mama Mboga, we will do this for you, mtu wa wheelbarrow, mtu wa mjengo. But now, look now, the law that Shimuazia have passed in parliament is actually punishing that person that they aimed to uplift. Okay?
How does it punish?
Because if you are saying today that you want that Mama Mboga, the wheelbarrow guy, to contribute to a housing levy, okay, let's talk about Kenya. A typical Kenyan would probably try to invest either to build a house at home in the rural areas, or is servicing a mortgage, or has taken a certain loan. Now you are telling him or her that you now want you also to build another flat apartment for somebody else. We don't even know the formula on how the redistribution of those houses will happen. So that's one context that I think Weshimiwa here did not take into account when they are passing this law. And of course, we also know that President William Ruto has manipulated Parliament. He controls it, including members even of the opposition, who, when it comes to debating and voting for a critical law, they actually walk out. So they don't actually represent their people. They don't take into account what the people who sent them to that bunge actually want. And I think for me that's the tragedy of our representation today. So you have a government, a president on one hand who says, I don't care what the courts of law decide. I don't respect the other arm of government called the judiciary. But because I've taken control of parliament, I'm going to force whatever my policies are or my decisions are, even though they were not actually promises during the campaign period. And that's a fact.
But the housing was a promise, Mheshimiwa.
Well, but did he say exactly how he's gonna do it? In fact, if I was to say to allow this government to probably use some of their debt, the borrowing, maybe they should just borrow this money from wherever and build this house instead of burdening the ordinary Kenyan, including your camera people here, including you, Gituku. Yeah. I'm sure you are paying a mortgage for example, or maybe paying rent, but now you are being told, let's build houses, and we have not been told the formula of how these houses will be redistributed or who. Today, if you ask me, I have a commitment, to where I live, and so how then do you want me? If I contribute to this, and this is one of the biggest, the stickiest questions that has never been answered. What is really the form? Where is this money by they going to?
So, Doctor, you raised an important question about whether this was in the promise. I'm looking at the Kenya Kwanza manifesto, and it's on housing and settlement. For instance, the urban housing, they said that increase the supply of new housing to 250,000 per annum, and percentage of affordable housing supply from 2% to 50%. We will achieve this by structuring affordable long-term housing finance schemes,
including a national housing fund and cooperative social housing schemes.
Gentlemen, politics is always a very dirty game, and it's always well planned, drafted, or plotted for any politician to achieve whatever he wants. So some people will describe Aukot as a man in a mission, but I will describe him as a man who speaks the truth. Aukot have said two major points here. The first point he have said is talking too much from the two videos. I'm just combining them. And the second point he have said is about the housing levy. And when you follow Aukot interview attentively, you will realize that this man fears no one and he speaks the truth. The truth of the matter is that the housing bill which now the government is trying to implement is not going to have any benefit for Kenyans. And according to Aukot, he have described it as a conmanship, as a long conmanship, which was done, which is now being done by Kenya Kwanza administration. Hizi manyumba unapata wanajenga, marafiki zao, my relatives ndio watakuwa wana benefit. And I said it very well that Kenyans can even build the house in Ushago. Si wengine wamejenga thatch house Ushago. Sio ni nyumba. Ama nyumba ya matope si umejenga Ushago. Is it a must? You must be built for by the government. If these people wanted to do away with the slums, they couldn't have implement tax on this housing levy. And in fact, Aukot is saying it very well, that this is a long conmanship and Kenyans are now not having any interest on this housing bill. And according again to Aukot, is storming the government and telling them to stop whatever they are doing, concentrate and avoid talking too much, but to deliver the promises to Kenyans. Which is true. When you talk too much, you will no longer work. Have you ever been in the office? Assume one of your colleagues is moving or she's moving up and down, talking. At the end of the day, you realize that this person is not talking, is not working. He or she will be late when his or her colleague have completed whatever to be done at the end of the day. So that is whatever Aukot is saying. And he is emphasizing it very well for you to understand. I mean, let's leave a country of speaking the truth, and let's always accept the truth, and let's always learn to participate in resolving the mistakes we have. Kenya Kwanza government, they are having 2 to 2.5 some months years, I guess. But that is very little. They ought to concentrate now as we speak to deliver the promises for Kenyans, because they are the ones who made promises for Kenyans. They are supposed to listen to Kenyans, the people's voice. The issue of heckling, I said it yesterday, is being brought by not fulfilling the promises. And in fact, this is very sad, and let's accept it, that the truth of the matter is that they are going to participate on delivering the promises. And according to Aukot, he have described this government as a failure government, and he is expecting this government to do whatever they can do on the issue of promises they made for Kenyans. So ladies and gentlemen, do you support this Aukot bombshell on Kenya Kwanza administration? Or if I may ask you, is Aukot eligible enough to be the current opposition in this country? Meanwhile, drop your opinion at the comment section below. But before I leave, kindly like this video, watch, share, and give us your opinion at the comment section below. Thank you very much. And if you never subscribe to our YouTube channel, take a 1 second and click the subscription button and subscribe to our channel. Subscribe, watch, share, and give us your opinion. Thank you very much for listening to me, and bye bye as we hope to meet on another political discussion.